The glass doors of Marshall Motors' Beverly Hills showroom gleam under the California sun, but inside, a chilling injustice unfolds. Serena Marshall, a black billionaire CEO, steps in, disguised as an ordinary customer, her heart pounding with purpose. "I'd like to see the Rolls-Royce Phantom," she says, voice steady. The manager, Edward Grayson, smirks, his eyes raking her simple jeans. Reserved, he snaps, dismissing her. Moments later, a white couple in similar attire is ushered to the same car with champagne and smiles. Serena's blood boils. This is her empire, tainted by racism. An anonymous email warned her of Grayson's rules. And now she's here to expose a system that shames her legacy. What happens when a titan fights back? Buckle up for a battle that'll shake an industry. Like, share, and subscribe to uncover Serena's war for justice. Serena Marshall sat in her sleek New York office, the city's restless skyline shimmering through floor-to-ceiling windows, a testament to her hard-won empire. At 42, she was the billionaire CEO of Marshall Motors, a luxury car brand she'd built from nothing, shattering barriers as a black woman in an industry ruled by legacy and privilege. Her desk, a polished slab of mahogany, held a single sheet of paper, an anonymous email that burned into her mind. "I worked at your Beverly Hills showroom. Edward Grayson runs a system that judges customers by race, faking sales reports to hide it. Please investigate." Serena's fingers tapped the desk, her sharp eyes narrowing. She'd founded Marshall Motors on equality, promising prestige for anyone who could afford it, yet this email exposed a betrayal within her own ranks. She reached for her phone, dialing Marcus Reed, her trusted 35-year-old assistant whose intuition matched her own. "Marcus, book me a flight to LA first thing tomorrow," she said, voice steady but edged with resolve. "Business or personal?" Marcus asked, sensing the storm brewing. "Personal. No announcements, no corporate bookings. Keep it quiet," she replied. "Trouble?" He pressed, his tone cautious. "If what I suspect is true, it's more than trouble. It's war," Serena said, hanging up. Her gaze drifted to a framed photo on the shelf, a younger Serena standing defiant before her first factory. Her smile a mix of grit and triumph. She'd fought racism, skepticism, and sabotage to get here, but this was different. This was her legacy being tainted. As she boarded the private jet the next morning, the Manhattan skyline faded below and Serena's mind churned with strategy. She wasn't just going to Beverly Hills to confirm a rumor, she was going to expose a system. Stepping out of a rented black SUV at LAX, Serena adjusted her simple outfit, white button-down, dark jeans, and clean sneakers. No designer labels, no flashy jewelry. Just a leather crossbody bag and a demeanor that blended into the crowd. She wanted to be invisible. A regular customer testing the waters of her own empire. The Beverly Hills showroom of Marshall Motors gleamed under the California sun, its glass facade reflecting palm trees and pristine streets. Inside, cars worth millions sat like sculptures, their curves glowing under soft lights, the air scented with leather and espresso. Serena pushed open the heavy glass door, the cool air hitting her like a challenge. A receptionist, impeccably dressed, glanced at her outfit, her smile faltering for a split second. "Welcome to Marshall Motors. How can I assist you?" she asked, voice polite but distant. "I'd like to see the Rolls-Royce Phantom, the new model," Serena said, her tone casual but firm. The receptionist's eyes flicked over her again, a subtle judgment. "Let me check with our sales team. Please wait here," she said, stepping away. Serena's lips twitched. She'd caught the hesitation, the unspoken assumption. She scanned the showroom, noting the absence of anyone who looked like her among the staff. A tall man approached, his navy suit crisp, his salt and pepper hair slicked back. Edward Grayson, the 50-year-old showroom manager. She knew him from his file. Stellar sales, but whispers of selective service. His smile was smooth, but his eyes sized her up, not as a customer, but as an outsider. "Good afternoon. I hear you're interested in the Phantom," Grayson said, his voice dripping with practiced charm. "That's right. I'd love to hear more about it," Serena replied, meeting his gaze. Grayson's smile tightened, his eyes lingering on her jeans. "I'm afraid that model's reserved for a client. Perhaps you'd prefer our sedan line? More practical," he said, gesturing toward a cheaper display. Serena tilted her head, her voice calm but pointed. Reserved? Funny. I see it right there. She nodded toward the Phantom, its black finish gleaming under the lights. Grayson's jaw twitched, but he recovered quickly. That's a display model, not available for walk-ins. Do you have an appointment? He asked, his tone now edged with condescension. Do I need one to browse my own showroom? Serena said, her words deliberate, testing him. Grayson blinked, missing the hint. It's policy. High-end models require private viewings. I'm sure you understand exclusivity, he said, his smile cold. Before Serena could respond, the glass doors swung open, and a white couple in casual attire, khakis and a sundress, entered. A young saleswoman, Lila Nguyen, 27, rushed to greet them. Mr. and Mrs. Larson, so thrilled to see you. Want to take a look at the Phantom today? Lila's voice was warm, her enthusiasm genuine. Serena watched as the couple was offered champagne and led straight to the Phantom she'd been denied. Grayson glanced at her, his expression daring her to react. Seems your policy's flexible, Serena said, her voice low but cutting. Grayson shrugged, unfazed. They're repeat clients. We have their financials on file. It streamlines things, he said, turning away as if she were invisible. Serena didn't argue. She sat in a plush lounge chair, her eyes scanning the room like a predator. Over the next hour, a pattern emerged. White customers, even those dressed casually, were greeted with warmth, offered brochures, and invited to test drives. Customers of color were ignored or redirected to lower-end models. A black man in a sharp blazer lingered near a Bentley, only to be politely steered toward a sedan by a salesman muttering about finding the right fit. Serena's blood boiled, but she stayed calm, her mind cataloging every detail. Then she noticed Jamal Carter, a 30-year-old salesman, trying to assist a black couple. Grayson pulled him aside, his voice low but sharp. Jamal, stop wasting time. They're not buying. Grayson hissed. They're interested, sir. They asked about the Bentley, Jamal protested, his voice tight. Don't make me repeat myself. Focus on real clients, Grayson snapped, walking away. Jamal's fists clenched, but he obeyed. Serena stood, approaching Lila, who was fidgeting at the reception desk, her eyes darting nervously. Lila, can you help me? Serena asked, her voice soft but direct. Lila startled, clutching her tablet. Hi, the Phantom's not available, ma'am, she stammered. I'm not here for the car, Serena said, slipping a business card onto the desk. If you're tired of the system, call me. I can help you change it. Lila's eyes widened, reading the card. Serena Marshall, CEO, Marshall Motors. Who are you? Lila whispered, her voice trembling. Someone who believes in justice. Think about it, Serena said, turning to leave. As she stepped into the blinding California sun, her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Grayson's tied to Olivia Bennett, regional director. She covers for him. Be careful. Serena's lips curved into a steely smile. This wasn't just a rogue manager. It was a conspiracy, and she was ready to tear it apart. Serena Marshall stood outside the Marshall Motors showroom in Beverly Hills, the California sun casting sharp shadows on the glass facade that reflected her resolve. The sting of being dismissed as a customer in her own empire lingered, but it fueled her clarity. This wasn't a single bad apple. It was a rotten system. Her phone buzzed with another anonymous text. Grayson's policies come from higher up. Check Olivia Bennett's emails. Serena's eyes narrowed. Olivia, the regional director, was a name she'd trusted. If true, this betrayal ran deeper than she'd imagined. She slipped the phone into her pocket and crossed the street to a small cafe, its large windows offering a perfect view of the showroom. Settling into a corner table with a black coffee, she watched the polished dance of salespeople and customers, her mind strategizing. She needed proof, not just of Grayson's actions, but of the network protecting him. Her first move was to contact Marcus Reed, her assistant, whose loyalty and resourcefulness were unmatched. Marcus, I need you to dig into Olivia Bennett's communications. Discreetly, she said over the phone, her voice low. What am I looking for? Marcus asked, already typing. Anything linking her to Grayson's customer profiling, emails, memos, anything that smells like a cover-up. Serena replied, Got it. This could take a bit. Corporate firewalls are tight, he warned. Then break them, she said, hanging up. Her coffee grew cold as she observed the showroom, noting the same pattern: white customers greeted with smiles and champagne, while customers of color were subtly sidelined. A young black woman in a tailored suit was redirected to a lower-end sedan, her enthusiasm dimming as the salesman's tone turned patronizing. Serena's jaw tightened, but she stayed composed, her mind on Lila and Wynn, the young saleswoman who'd hesitated when dismissing her. Lila's unease was a crack in the system. Serena could pry it open. Inside the showroom, Lila fidgeted at her desk, the business card Serena left burning a hole in her pocket. She glanced at Edward Grayson, his commanding presence looming as he schmoozed with a white couple over a Bentley. Lila's stomach churned. She'd seen Grayson's rules in action too many times: profile customers within seconds, prioritize those who look the part. She tried to help a black customer once, only to be publicly reprimanded. Lila, focus on serious buyers, Grayson had snapped, his words a warning. Now, Serena's card felt like a lifeline or a trap. Lila, you okay? Jamal Carter, the salesman Serena had seen, rebuked, leaned over, his voice low. You look like you're about to bolt. Lila forced a smile, her fingers brushing the card. Just thinking. You ever feel like we're part of something wrong? She whispered. Jamal's eyes darkened. Every damn day. I tried helping a couple yesterday. Grayson nearly fired me. Said I was wasting resources. Lila swallowed, glancing at Grayson. What if someone could change it? Jamal raised an eyebrow. Like who? We're pawns here. Before Lila could respond, Grayson's voice cut through. Lila, my office. Now. Her heart sank as she followed him, the glass walls making her feel exposed. Inside, Grayson leaned against his desk, his smile cold. You seemed distracted today. Something on your mind? He asked, his tone probing. Lila gripped her tablet, forcing calm. No, sir. Just a busy day. Grayson's eyes narrowed. You're not getting soft, are you? We have a system here: efficiency, exclusivity. You understand why we don't waste time on certain customers, right? Lila's throat tightened, Serena's card heavy in her pocket. I understand the policy, sir, she said, her voice barely steady. Good, Grayson said, dismissing her with a wave. Don't make me question you again. Back at her desk, Lila's hands trembled as she pulled out the card. Serena's words echoed. Call me if you're ready. She typed a quick text to the number. I need to talk. Somewhere safe. Within minutes. Serena replied. Cafe on West 3rd, 7 p.m. I'll be there. At the cafe. Serena sat in a dimly lit corner, stirring a tea she had no intention of drinking. When Lila arrived, her auburn hair pulled back tightly, her eyes darted nervously. I shouldn't be here, Lila said, sliding into the chair, clutching her bag. But you are, Serena said gently. Why? Lila exhaled, her voice breaking. Because I'm sick of it. Grayson's rules, they're not just unfair, they're cruel. My brother was turned away at a dealership like this years ago. He saved for months and they treated him like dirt. I see it every day now, and I hate being part of it. Serena leaned forward, her gaze steady. Then help me stop it. What do you know? Lila hesitated, then pulled out her phone, showing a screenshot of an email from Grayson. Prioritize high-value clients based on appearance and demeanor. Efficiency is key. There's more, Lila said, voice shaking. Grayson fakes sales reports to hide how he favors certain customers. He says it's to protect the brand's image. And Olivia Bennett, she knows. I overheard him on a call with her, promising a cut of the profits to keep her quiet. Serena's pulse quickened. This was the link she needed. Can you get me those emails? She asked. Lila bit her lip. If Grayson finds out, I'm done. My family depends on this job. Serena placed a hand on hers. I'll protect you, Lila. You're not alone in this. Lila nodded, tears in her eyes. Okay, I'll do it. As Lila left, Serena's phone buzzed. Marcus, found something. He said, Olivia's been funneling bonuses to Grayson for years tied to discretionary sales. There's an email where she tells him to keep the showroom exclusive. I'm sending it now. Serena's lips curved into a grim smile. The net was tightening. Back at the showroom, Grayson sensed trouble. He'd caught Lila's nervous glances, and a cryptic call from Olivia warned of a leak. Someone's talking, Edward, Olivia hissed over the phone. Find them, or we're both exposed. Grayson stormed to Jamal's desk, his voice low and menacing. "You been chatting with anyone you shouldn't, Carter?" Jamal met his gaze, unflinching. "I do my job, sir. That's all." Grayson's eyes bored into him, but Jamal didn't blink. "Keep it that way." Grayson snapped, turning away. That night, Serena reviewed Marcus's email and Lila's screenshot, her plan crystallizing. She needed undeniable proof to take down Grayson and Olivia. "Marcus, set up a test," she said over the phone. "Send Ethan Cole to the showroom tomorrow, same car I asked for. Record everything." "On it," Marcus replied. "Ethan's perfect, white, polished. It looks like money. They'll roll out the red carpet." Serena hung up, staring at the showroom across the street, its lights glowing like a facade hiding a lie. She wasn't just fighting for her company, she was fighting for every customer who'd been turned away, for Lila's brother, for Jamal's dignity. The battle was just beginning, and she was ready to shake the industry to its core. Serena Marshall stood in the quiet of her Los Angeles hotel room, the city's glittering lights sprawling beyond the window like a map of her ambitions and battles. The weight of her discoveries pressed against her chest. Not just Edward Grayson's discriminatory practices at the Marshall Motors Beverly Hills showroom, but the deeper betrayal of Olivia Bennett, the regional director who had shielded him for years. Serena's phone lay on the desk, displaying the damning evidence, a video of Grayson eagerly showing a white customer, Ethan Cole. The Rolls-Royce Phantom she'd been denied, juxtaposed with her own dismissal, emails from Grayson instructing staff to prioritize high-value clients based on appearance, and a leaked memo from Olivia to Grayson, promising bonuses for maintaining exclusivity. Lila Gwynn, the young saleswoman who'd risked everything, had sent the final piece. A recorded call where Grayson bragged to Olivia about faking sales reports to hide his bias. Serena's jaw tightened. This wasn't just a showroom problem, it was a corporate conspiracy. She dialed Marcus Reed, her assistant, whose voice crackled with urgency. "Everything's ready, Serena. Ethan's video is edited, Lila's files are secure. And I've got a contact at the Wall Street Journal waiting for your signal." Serena's voice was steel. "Hold off on the press. I'm taking this to the board first. Set up an emergency meeting in New York tomorrow. Make it mandatory." "You sure you want to give them a chance to squirm?" Marcus asked. "I want them to see it coming," she replied, hanging up. Her plan was clear: confront the board with irrefutable proof, force them to act, and dismantle the system from the top. But she knew Grayson and Olivia wouldn't go down quietly, they'd fight dirty. And she had to be ready. Back at the Beverly Hills showroom, Edward Grayson paced his glass-walled office, his polished facade cracking. Olivia's warning call had set him on edge. Someone's leaking? "Edward." The board's sniffing around. "If they have evidence, we're done." Grayson's knuckles whitened as he gripped his desk. He'd built this showroom into a profit machine. His customer profiling, ensuring high sales by catering to the right clients. But now, a noose was tightening, and he suspected Lila Gwynn. She'd been too nervous, too hesitant to follow his rules. He summoned her, his voice sharp over the intercom. "Lila, my office." "Now." Lila entered, her heart pounding but her face a mask of calm. Grayson leaned forward. His eyes called. "You've been acting strange, Lila. Talking to anyone you shouldn't?" Lila's fingers tightened around her tablet. "No, sir. I've just been doing my job." Grayson's smile was venomous. "Don't lie to me. Someone's feeding dirt to corporate, and I think it's you." Lila met his gaze, her voice steady despite the fear clawing at her. "I don't know what you're talking about. If you have proof, show it." Grayson's jaw twitched. He had none, just suspicion. "You're treading on thin ice," he hissed. "If I find out you're the leak, you'll never work in this industry again. Get out." Lila left, her legs trembling, and texted Serena from the break room. "He's on to me. I'm scared." Serena replied instantly, "Stay strong. I've got you. Meet me tonight?" At the West 3rd Cafe, Serena sat in the same dim corner, her tea untouched as Lila slid into the seat across from her, eyes red-rimmed. "Grayson's hunting for a scapegoat," Lila whispered. "He threatened to blacklist me." Serena's voice was firm but warm. "He's desperate because he knows he's cornered. You've given me everything I need: emails, recordings, proof of Olivia's involvement. You're not just a witness, Lila. You're the key to ending this." Lila's voice cracked. "But what if the board ignores it? My brother, he was humiliated at a dealership like ours. I did this for him. But what if it's for nothing?" Serena leaned forward, her eyes blazing. "It won't be. I promise you, Lila, we're not just taking down Grayson. We're changing the game for everyone like your brother." Lila nodded, wiping her eyes. "What's next?" Serena's lips curved into a determined smile. "I'm going to New York to face the board. But I need one more thing. Can you get Jamal Carter on board? He's seen Grayson's tactics up close." Lila hesitated, then nodded. "I'll talk to him. He's fed up too." As Lila left, Serena's phone buzzed. Marcus again. "Olivia's been calling board members, spinning a story that you're staging a power grab. She's saying you fabricated the evidence to oust her and Grayson." Serena's voice was ice. "Let her try. By tomorrow, she'll have nowhere to hide." The next morning, Serena boarded a red-eye to New York, her mind racing through every possible countermove. Grayson and Olivia would deny, deflect, maybe even counterattack. She needed to be surgical, undeniable. At Marshall Motors' Manhattan headquarters, the boardroom was a fortress of power, polished wood, leather chairs, and a skyline view that screamed dominance. Serena entered, her tailored blazer and calm demeanor masking the storm within. The board, 15 executives and investors, sat around the long table, their expressions ranging from curious to hostile. James Whitaker, 60, the board chair, presided, his face unreadable. Edward Grayson sat near the end, his suit impeccable but his eyes darting nervously. Olivia Bennett, 48, sat beside him, her posture rigid, her smile a thin veneer. Serena took her seat, her voice cutting through the murmurs. "Thank you for coming on short notice. We're here because Marshall Motors is failing its customers, not through poor sales, but through a betrayal of our values." James raised an eyebrow. "That's a strong claim, Serena. What proof do you have?" Serena nodded to Marcus, who stood by the projector. "Play the footage." The room darkened as the screen flickered to life. The video began with Serena, dressed simply, asking to see the Phantom and being dismissed by Grayson. "It's reserved." Seconds later, Ethan Cole, white and polished, was welcomed with smiles and led to the same car. Gasps rippled through the board. The screen shifted to Grayson's email, "Prioritize clients who fit our brand image." Then Lila's recording played, Grayson's voice clear, "Olivia, we're keeping sales high by focusing on the right customers. You'll get your cut." Olivia's face paled, her fingers gripping the table. The final blow was a memo from Olivia to Grayson. "Ensure exclusivity at all costs. Bonuses tied to compliance." The room was silent, the air heavy with shock. Serena stood, her voice steady but fierce. "This isn't one man's mistake. It's a system, built by Edward Grayson and protected by Olivia Bennett. They've turned our showrooms into gatekeepers, judging customers by race, not wealth. This violates everything Marshall Motors stands for." Grayson shot to his feet, his voice trembling with rage. "This is a setup. She's twisting the truth to seize control. Luxury brands filter customers, it's how we survive." Serena's eyes locked onto his. "Filtering by race isn't survival, Edward. It's discrimination, and you profited from it." Olivia, her voice tight, tried to deflect. "Serena, you're blowing this out of proportion. Our policies prioritize efficiency, not bias. You've manipulated this evidence to undermine us." Serena turned to her, unflinching. "Efficiency? You took bribes to keep Grayson's system running. The emails don't lie, Olivia." James intervened, his tone sharp. "Enough. Serena, you're accusing two senior leaders of systemic misconduct. That's a bold move, but it risks our brand's stability. Investors are already nervous." Serena's voice rose, commanding the room. "Stability built on lies is instability. A customer, Jaden Price, a famous rapper, just tweeted about being turned away at our showroom. His post is viral, millions are watching. If we don't act, the public will bury us." Clara Evans, a younger board member, spoke up, her voice tense. "If this video leaks, we're facing a PR nightmare. But firing Grayson and Olivia could spook shareholders." Serena leaned forward, her words like a blade. "Not acting will cost us more. Customers are sharing stories of discrimination at our showrooms and others. This isn't just about us, it's about the industry. We lead or we fall." Grayson, desperate, tried one last gambit. "You're not innocent, Serena. You've known how luxury works for years. Why now? Because you weren't recognized. This is personal." Serena's smile was cold. "It's personal for every customer you turned away, Edward. I'm here because they deserve better." The boardroom doors opened, and Lylan Gwynn entered, her presence a shock. Serena had arranged for her to attend, a risky but calculated move. Lila's voice trembled but held firm. "I'm Lila Gwynn, a salesperson at Beverly Hills. I've seen Grayson's rules firsthand. He threatened my job when I helped a black customer. My brother was humiliated at a dealership like ours. I couldn't stay silent anymore." She placed a USB drive on the table. "More emails. More recordings. It's all here." Grayson's face drained of color. Olivia stammered, "She's lying. She's just a disgruntled employee." But the board's mood had shifted. Jamal Carter, summoned by Lila, stepped in next, his voice steady. "I've been reprimanded for serving customers of color. Grayson told me they're not worth our time. I have witnesses." The room erupted in murmurs, the board's confidence in Grayson and Olivia crumbling. James raised a hand for silence. "Serena, Lila, Jamal, your evidence is compelling, but this decision isn't just about one showroom. It's about our future." Serena seized the moment, her voice resonant. "Our future is now. Marshall Motors can set a new standard, one where every customer is valued. Or we can cling to a broken system and lose everything. Choose." Grayson slumped in his chair, his defiance shattered. Olivia's eyes darted to the exits, but there was no escape. The board adjourned to vote. But Serena knew the tide had turned. She'd exposed the truth, and it was a weapon no one could deflect. The early morning sun pierced through the heavy velvet drapes of the courtroom, casting long, jagged shadows across the polished mahogany floor. The air was thick, oppressive. Despite the grandeur of the high-ceilinged chamber, rows of wooden benches brimmed with spectators, reporters scribbling furiously, townsfolk whispering with curiosity, and a few faces etched with quiet tension. At the defense table, Olivia Grant, 38, sat with a spine as straight as a steel rod, her hands clasped tightly. Her rich brown skin glowed faintly under the fluorescent lights, her curly hair pulled into a neat bun. Dressed in a crisp navy blazer and white blouse, she exuded understated confidence. Her sharp eyes scanned the room, noting every detail: the fidgeting juror, the smug glance of her accuser, the hum of anticipation. Olivia was no ordinary woman, though her appearance gave little away. There was a quiet power in her stillness, a coiled strength in her controlled movements. To the casual observer, she was just another black woman facing serious charges, resisting arrest and assaulting an officer. But a question hung in the air, unspoken yet palpable. How could someone like her dare challenge a seasoned police officer? The sharp rap of Judge Clara Thompson's gavel cut through the murmurs, commanding silence. A stern woman in her 50s with silver-streaked hair and piercing gray eyes. She carried an authority honed by decades on the bench. "The case of the state versus Olivia Grant," the bailiff announced, his voice echoing off the vaulted ceiling. Olivia rose, her movements deliberate, almost ceremonial. Whispers rippled through the crowd as spectators craned their necks for a better view. At the plaintiff's table, Officer Daniel Harper, 42, lounged with a confidence bordering on arrogance. His police uniform was immaculate, his posture relaxed, a faint smirk playing on his lips. His blue eyes glinted with the certainty of a man rarely questioned. He glanced at Olivia, his gaze dripping with condescension, as if the trial's outcome was a foregone conclusion. Harper was the kind of officer who thrived on unchallenged authority, but today he was oblivious to the storm brewing before him. Olivia's lawyer, Marcus Lee, 29, a young black attorney with a fire in his eyes but a nervous edge, shuffled through his notes. His tie was slightly askew, his hands betraying a slight tremor as he glanced at Olivia, seeking reassurance. She offered a subtle nod, her gaze fixed on the judge. "Your Honor," Marcus began, his voice catching briefly. "We are ready to proceed." Judge Thompson nodded, her expression unreadable. "Officer Harper, take the stand." Harper strode forward, each step a performance. He adjusted his uniform with a flourish, flashed a charming smile to the jury, and swore the oath with practiced ease. Olivia watched him closely, cataloging the details others missed. The slight twitch of his fingers, the way his eyes darted to his fellow officers in the back row for approval. She remained still, her face a mask of calm, but inside, she was mapping his every move. Harper settled into the witness chair, his voice booming with authority. "On the evening of April 12th, I responded to a disturbance call in the West District. I found the defendant, Ms. Grant, loitering outside a shuttered storefront. The word loitering landed like a stone, laced with insinuation. Especially for a black woman, murmurs stirred the crowd. Harper pressed on, his tone growing theatrical. When I asked for her identification, she got hostile, raised her voice, refused to comply. I tried to de-escalate, but she lashed out, struck me in the chest, and reached for my service weapon. Gasps erupted. A woman in the back muttered, "That's a lie." Judge Thompson's gavel slammed down. "Order." Harper leaned back, feigning a wince of pain. I had no choice but to restrain her. Marcus rose, his voice unsteady but determined. "Your Honor, we request to save it for cross-examination, Mr. Lee," the judge cut in, her tone sharp. Harper sauntered back to his seat, tossing a triumphant grin at his colleagues, who nodded in solidarity. Olivia leaned toward Marcus, her voice a low whisper. "He's overplaying his hand. Let him." Marcus nodded, though his eyes betrayed his nerves. "You sure about this, Olivia?" Her lips curved faintly. "I face worse than him." "Stay sharp, Marcus." The prosecutor, James Whitaker, a lean man in his 40s with a tailored suit and a voice like a blade, stood. "Officer Harper, can you clarify the defendant's demeanor when you approached her?" Harper leaned forward, his tone dripping with conviction. "She was defiant from the start, kept questioning me like she was above the law. I gave her every chance to cooperate, but she chose violence." Whitaker nodded, turning to the jury. "And you felt threatened?" "Absolutely," Harper said, his voice hardening. "When someone goes for your weapon, you don't take chances." The courtroom buzzed. Olivia's composure never wavered, but her eyes burned with a quiet fire. Marcus scribbled notes, muttering under his breath, "He's laying it on thick." Olivia's voice was barely audible. "Too thick. He's setting himself up." Judge Thompson's gaze shifted to Olivia. "Ms. Grant, you may take the stand." Olivia rose, smoothing her blazer, and walked to the witness stand with the precision of a soldier. The room fell silent, the weight of 100 stares pressing down. She adjusted the microphone, her movements slow, deliberate. Whitaker approached, his smile sharp. "Miss Grant, let's hear your side. Explain your actions that night." Olivia leaned forward, her voice steady, resonant. "I will, but first, let me be clear. Officer Harper's story isn't just wrong, it's a deliberate lie." A collective gasp swept the room. Whitaker's smile faltered. "Bolt claimed Ms. Grant. Not any proof." Her eyes locked onto his. Unyielding. "The truth has a way of surfacing, counselor. You'll see." Whitaker recovered, his tone mocking. "Enlighten us then. What happened?" Olivia's gaze swept the jury, her words measured but powerful. "That night, I was walking home after visiting a colleague. I stopped at the corner of Elm and 7th to check my phone for directions. That's when Officer Harper approached." Whitaker pounced. "So you admit you were standing there, alone at night?" "I was on a public sidewalk." Olivia countered, her voice firm. "Last I checked, that's not a crime." The jury shifted, intrigued. Whitaker pressed. "And when the officer asked for your ID?" Serena Marshall stood at the podium in the packed conference room of Marshall Motors' Manhattan headquarters, the hum of anticipation vibrating through the air. Cameras flashed, reporters scribbled, and employees lined the walls, their eyes fixed on her. The press conference, broadcast live on CNN and trending on Twitter, was more than a corporate response, it was a reckoning. Beside her stood Lila Nguyen, now a supervisor of training and compliance, her posture steady despite the weight of the spotlight. Jamal Carter, newly appointed to the oversight team, flanked her other side, his expression a mix of pride and resolve. Jaden Price, the rapper whose viral tweet had ignited a firestorm, nodded to Serena, his presence amplifying the moment. Serena adjusted the microphone, her voice clear and commanding. "Good afternoon. Today, Marshall Motors doesn't just address a scandal. We chart a new path. We've uncovered a system of discrimination in our Beverly Hills showroom, led by former manager Edward Grayson and enabled by Regional Director Olivia Bennett. They're gone, but accountability isn't enough. We're here to rebuild trust and challenge an industry that's failed too many." The room hung on her words as she outlined sweeping reforms: mandatory anti-bias training for all staff, a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination, an independent oversight team led by Lila and Jamal, and a public commitment to equity. This isn't just about Marshall Motors, she continued, her gaze sweeping the crowd. It's about every customer turned away because of their skin. We're setting a new standard, and we challenge every luxury brand to follow. The applause was thunderous, punctuated by Jaden's voice. This is for everyone who felt invisible. Marshall Motors sees you now. Behind the scenes, the impact was immediate. Rachel Kim's Forbes article, Marshall Motors Redefines Luxury with Bold Reforms, published minutes after the conference, quoted Lila's emails, Jamal's testimony, and Jaden's story going viral with millions of shares. Social media buzzed with hashtag Marshall Motors Reform as customers posted their experiences from humiliation to hope. A black entrepreneur tweeted, "Tried to buy a Bentley at Marshall last year, ignored. Today I was welcomed. Change is real." The Beverly Hills showroom, once a fortress of exclusion, was transformed under new manager David Holloway, a diversity advocate handpicked by Serena. Sales staff underwent rigorous training, and the atmosphere shifted. Customers of all backgrounds were greeted with respect. Sales, initially dipped by the scandal, began to climb as the brand became a symbol of progress. Serena's phone buzzed with messages from industry leaders, some promising to review their own policies, others defensive but rattled. The luxury auto industry was on notice. In her office later that day, Serena met Lila and Jamal, the New York skyline glowing beyond the window. "You two made this possible," she said, her voice warm. Lila, clutching a folder of training reports, smiled shyly. "I never thought I'd be here, leading change. My brother called, he's proud." Jamal nodded, his voice firm. "This is for every customer I couldn't help. We're not stopping." Serena handed Lila a new badge, Training and Compliance Supervisor. "You're not just fixing showrooms," she told her. "You're reshaping our culture." To Jamal, she said, "Your oversight team will keep us honest. Can you handle it?" He grinned. "Born for it." As they left, Marcus entered, his tablet glowing with data. "Stock stabilizing, and we've got inquiries from diversity consultants. But some old guard dealers are pushing back, saying we're overcorrecting." Serena's eyes gleamed. "Let them push. They'll adapt or fade." Edward Grayson, meanwhile, sat alone in his Beverly Hills apartment, the TV muted as headlines mocked him, "Disgraced manager fired in Marshall Motors scandal." His phone, once alive with industry connections, was silent. A desperate call to a former ally yielded only a curt, "You're untouchable now, Ed." His career was ash, his name synonymous with failure. Olivia Bennett, holed up in her LA condo, shredded her last documents, her resignation barely saving her from legal scrutiny. Both had underestimated Serena, and the price was their oblivion. Across the city, the showroom thrived under Holloway's leadership. A Latina customer, once ignored, posted a video. "Marshall Motors treated me like royalty today. This is what luxury should be." The clip racked up millions of views, cementing the brand's new identity. That evening, Serena hosted a public event at the Beverly Hills showroom, inviting Jaden Price and customers who'd shared their stories. Jaden took the mic, his voice resonant. "I walked in here a year ago and felt like nothing. Today, I'm proud to stand with a company that's fighting for us." A woman in the crowd, a nurse who'd been dismissed at another dealership, spoke through tears. "Thank you, Serena, for making us feel seen." Serena listened, her heart full but her mind clear. The fight wasn't over. Back in her office, Marcus revealed a personal truth. "I never told you, but I was turned away at a dealership before I joined you. Felt like I didn't belong. What you're doing, it's personal for me too." Serena's voice softened. "Then we keep going for you, for them, for everyone." She handed him a draft of a new initiative, a fund to support minority entrepreneurs in the auto industry. "Make it happen," she said. As night fell, Serena stood by her office window, the city's pulse echoing her own. The reforms were a start, but systemic bias wouldn't vanish overnight. Other Graysons and Olivias lurked, and she'd face them head-on. Her phone pinged, a text from Lila. "First training session went well. 90% compliance. We're doing this." Serena smiled, replying, "You're leading the way." The showroom's transformation was a beacon, but the industry was a battlefield. Rival brands announced reviews, spurred by Marshall's example, and customer stories flooded platforms, demanding change. Serena's final call was to Rachel Kim. Keep the pressure on. This is just the beginning. She hung up, her reflection in the glass a portrait of resilience. Marshall Motors was no longer just a brand, it was a movement. And Serena Marshall, the woman who'd turned rejection into revolution, was ready for the next fight. What do you think of Serena's stand? Would you fight like she did? Share your thoughts and follow for more stories of courage. The story of Serena Marshall and her fight against systemic discrimination at Marshall Motors offers profound lessons in courage, accountability, and the power of standing up to injustice. Serena, a black billionaire CEO, could have ignored the anonymous email exposing racial bias in her company's Beverly Hills showroom, but she chose to confront it head-on, disguising herself as a customer to witness the truth. Her journey teaches us that real change begins with facing uncomfortable realities. No matter how powerful the system. Lylan Gwynn and Jamal Carter, employees who risked their livelihoods to expose the truth, show that bravery often comes from those least expected, proving that every voice matters. Serena's triumph, ousting corrupt leaders and sparking industry-wide reform, underscores that justice requires persistence and collective action. Her reforms, from anti-bias training to inclusive policies, remind us that institutions can evolve when driven by principle over profit. This story challenges us to question biases in our own lives and workplaces, urging us to act when we see wrong. It's a call to reject silence and demand fairness, showing that one person's resolve can ignite a movement. Serena's battle proves that change is possible, but only if we dare to fight for it. Want to hear more stories of courage and transformation? Like, share, and subscribe to our channel to stay inspired by tales of real heroes shaking up the world.